For more on Chancellor of the Exchequer Alistair Darling's comments on the potential overhaul of Britain's banking rules, let's bring in Bob McDowall. He's the senior research analyst at TowerGroup in London, where he joins us. Mr. McDowall, good afternoon and welcome to Bloomberg News.
Good afternoon, Mark.
Sir, you just heard from our Mark Barton, and he said that one of the things Mr. Darling will be saying tonight is that bank regulators need to sharpen their judgment to prevent future banking crises. Using that as a backdrop, how do you think lawmakers will receive that message?
Well, I think lawmakers must receive that message in the sense that they cannot and should not expand the scale of regulation. Competence must certainly be gained in a small area to start with. You can't have yet another raft of rules and regulations and at the same time expect regulators to sharpen their act. They've got to sharpen their act in their existing areas of so-called competency.
Well, is this going to cause some tension or increased tension between Washington and London, do you think?
I think it will, yes, because London will remain with a principles-based regulatory regime, in my personal view, and of course the US has a fairly rules prescriptive-based regime, and those cause tensions. I would also add that I believe there'll also be tensions with mainland Europe, which in many ways resembles more the US regulatory regime than the UK regime.
Bob, it's Carol here with Mark. I mean, what's your biggest concern or worry that you think regulators or governments are going to make in terms of changing the regulatory structure? What's your biggest worry here, be it in the US or over in Europe or the UK?
Yes, I think change has to be made over time. You can rush through rules and regulations if you wish.
But what specifically are you worried that they're going to do, maybe make a mistake here?
I think they will move too quickly in a knee-jerk reaction to understandable public concern. This needs reflection, and the proposals need a lot of scrutiny.
Mr. McDowall, you think
they need to stress pace. They need to stress test the rules as well as the institutions.
Well, you think that the Bank of England, we should go back to the old ways, the UK should, where the Bank of England was responsible for this regulatory oversight. Why?
Because the Bank of England, central banks have the ability to intervene in markets. They can take market action. Then they can stimulate credit. They can create liquidity. A regulatory board without those financial powers is unable to do that sort of thing.
Right. Bob McDowall of TowerGroup joining us from London. Mr. McDowall, thanks. Carol?